The Galactic Federation's Grand Assembly Hall was an awe-inspiring arena where delegates from countless species gathered to negotiate interstellar policies. Despite the hall's splendor, it was often a battleground for egos, alliances, and secrets. At the center of this political storm was Marcus Kane, Earth's newly appointed diplomat. To many, Marcus was an unimpressive figure. He stood with a modest frame, his graying hair and worn diplomatic robes hinting at someone well past his prime. His soft-spoken demeanor and preference for observing rather than engaging had earned him the nickname the Silent Spectator among his peers. Humans, still relatively new to the Galactic Federation, were often underestimated, and Marcus was no exception. On the first day of the Federation's annual summit, Marcus arrived to represent Earth in discussions about territorial disputes in the Zorthian expanse. The hall buzzed with activity, and delegates from the more dominant species, such as the towering Tharknal warlords and the sleek, reptilian slick diplomats, exchanged knowing smirks as Marcus took his seat. "Earth sends him," scoffed General Vrax, a grizzled warrior of the Zorathian Empire, his voice carrying through the chamber. "Do they think diplomacy is won with quiet stares and frail humans?" Laughter rippled through the assembly. Marcus merely adjusted his glasses, his face betraying no emotion. "Let them laugh," he muttered under his breath. The summit turned heated as the Zorathian Empire and the Arkan Coalition clashed over control of a mineral-rich asteroid belt. The Zorathians demanded annexation, citing ancient claims, while the Arkan Coalition called for shared governance. The debate grew hostile, with threats of military action looming. Amid the chaos, Marcus quietly observed, his fingers steepled in thought. When it was Earth's turn to speak, Marcus stood, adjusting his robes. The room fell silent, not out of respect, but curiosity. What could this meek human possibly contribute? "Earth proposes a neutral council to oversee mining operations," Marcus began, his voice calm but firm. "This ensures fair distribution while avoiding unnecessary conflict." General Vrax laughed harshly. "Neutrality is a coward's refuge. Your kind knows nothing of war. Stay silent, little human, while real warriors decide the galaxy's fate." Marcus paused, his piercing blue eyes locking onto Vrax. "I know more of war than you might think, General." The room shifted uncomfortably. Marcus's tone had a gravity that silenced even the most boisterous delegates. Word spread quickly after the session. Delegates began whispering about Marcus's cryptic statement. Who was he really? What did he mean? Curiosity grew, and so did the tension. It was during a private reception later that evening when the truth began to surface. A Zorathian historian, intrigued by Marcus's demeanor, accessed the Federation's classified military archives. What he discovered sent shockwaves through the hall. Marcus Kane wasn't just a diplomat. He was the ghost of Karthos, a legendary figure from a brutal conflict 2 decades prior. The Karthos conflict had been one of the bloodiest wars in recent history. A coalition of hostile alien factions had launched a surprise attack on Earth's fledgling colonies. The human forces, outnumbered and outgunned, were forced into guerrilla warfare. Marcus Kane, then a young commander, had orchestrated a series of brilliant counterattacks. His strategies turned the tide, earning him the nickname the Ghost for his ability to strike from the shadows and vanish without a trace. His most famous feat was the liberation of Karthos IV, where he led a daring raid to rescue thousands of prisoners and cripple the enemy's fleet. But after the war, Marcus had disappeared from public life, shunning fame and recognition. He had chosen diplomacy over warfare, believing that peace was the ultimate victory. By the next morning, Marcus's true identity was the talk of the summit. Delegates who had mocked him now avoided his gaze, their laughter replaced with uneasy respect. General Vrax, however, was less than pleased. "So, the human has claws after all," Vrax growled during a heated exchange. "But war and diplomacy are not the same. You cannot scare me with your past, Kane." Marcus smiled faintly. "It's not fear I seek, General. It's understanding. War has taught me its lessons I hope to spare others from learning the hard way." As the summit continued, Marcus used his reputation strategically. When negotiations reached an impasse, he shared stories from the Karthos conflict, painting vivid pictures of the horrors of war. His words carried weight, not just because of his experiences, but because he spoke from the heart. Finally, Marcus proposed a solution, a joint venture between the Zarathian Empire and the Arkan Coalition, overseen by Earth as a neutral mediator. The plan was bold but balanced, ensuring that neither side gained an unfair advantage. General Vrax hesitated, his pride warring with reason. But Marcus's sincerity and the weight of his history swayed him. "Very well," Vrax conceded. "But know this, human, this isn't mercy. It's strategy." Marcus inclined his head. "Call it what you will, General, as long as it brings peace." The summit concluded with a rare agreement, a testament to Marcus's skill as both a warrior and a diplomat. As the delegates departed, many approached Marcus, offering newfound respect. "Humans are full of surprises," remarked a slick ambassador, his serpentine eyes glinting with admiration. Marcus smiled, his gaze drifting toward the stars. "The galaxy has much to learn about us." In the end, Marcus Kane wasn't just a diplomat or a war hero. He was a bridge between worlds, a reminder that true strength lies not in weapons, but in wisdom, and that even the quietest voice can echo across the stars.